time with me, a couple thousand years. James is about 10 years old, and his big brother, Jesus, is about 12. Now, what do typical Jewish boys do at this time? Well, they obviously spend time every day doing their Torah lessons, but they're going to be spending time doing chores around the house, especially helping their father in his shop. But the favorite thing that they do is they play games. They're young boys. They're going to play games. Their favorite game of all is hide and seek. But there's a challenge. The challenge is James can never find Jesus, and Jesus always finds James. You know, Jesus is kind of like the Son of God. See? You know, you're seeking God where you think God is and where you think God wants you, but in reality, He's over here. Now, He's all around us, obviously, but He's working over here. He wants you over here instead of over there. So I'm like, God, here I am. I'm obedient. Take me. Tell me where you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I will go anywhere. Well, except Maryland. Okay, God, did you hear that? I'm not going to Maryland, okay? Hey. Why Maryland? Well, I grew up in Maryland in this little town of about 12,000 people. When I left there in 78, the population went down to 11,999, and it hasn't changed. Every night they roll the sidewalk up because there's nothing that's going on. Well, God and I had this understanding. I'll go anywhere He wants me to go. You know, St. Thomas, Hawaii, Tahiti, it'd be great places. They need worship. But I decided that I didn't want to go back to Maryland. See, I was living in this world over here that was my comfort zone. I was seeking God where I wanted to be. I wasn't seeking God where He wanted me to be. You see, the problem was I was living over here. I was seeking God in my comfort zone, and God was planting the seeds for me to move into His comfort zone, which are very different things. You see, I had put God in this box. It was a Steve-sized box, and that's all I could comprehend. But God was telling me I have no box because I have no limits. Don't put me in a box.
Stephen Reed Ministries and Stephen Reed Coaching. I had the distinct honor and pleasure of sharing a devotional this morning with the group that meets every Monday morning. It's called the Ziglar Monday Morning Devotions. And by the name, yes, it is from the Zig Ziglar Corporation that Mr. Ziglar started this devotional program over 40 years ago. In fact, he said that this was the most important meeting of the day. Well, stay tuned as I go through the devotion that I was honored to share with the group this morning. You ready? Well, here goes. The premise of what I want to share this morning with you is how we overcome adversity by using poems. Now, poems come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and forms, but this will give you an overview of some of the ways that I use poems and the strategies that I use for me personally to overcome adversity of all different types. Well, let's look at some of the different types of adversity. Is it a wayward child? Is it the death of a loved one? Maybe it's health. Now, let's move on. So the first letter is the letter P for prayer. The next letter is the letter O for obedience. Okay? Look at the entire situation and don't make rash decisions on things. Look at everything that's going on. Don't jump to conclusions. Now, I want to say it was Zig Ziglar that I first heard say something like this. The only exercise some people get on a daily basis is jumping to conclusions. Don't be one of those people. Now think instead about the entire situation, everything that's going on. So as you look at the most famous quote from Mr. Ziglar, you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get the things that they want.
The first time I heard him say this was way back in the early 80s, 81, 82, somewhere in that time frame. And I absolutely fell in love with not only the quote, but his principles and his philosophy on conducting business and just being who he was. And everything that I've seen about him, from other people regarding him, they've said that he is exactly the same all the time. So those are the kinds of principles and standards that I want to live by as well. So as we continue on, I want to share a couple of different thoughts with you about the Choose to Win or Becoming the Best You program. You can choose to win. And in addition to that, you can transform your life. You can choose to transform your life one choice at a time. And they don't have to be big monumental choices. They can be simple little choices that we make on a day in and day out basis. What is your why? Do you know what your why is? Have you figured out exactly what you want and how you want to accomplish the things that you want? So what is your why? Now, when you look at it, that why may include a lot of different things. Maybe it has something to do with more time with your family. Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe your why is better health. Maybe it's accountability. Maybe that's not really your why. Maybe that is what you're looking for. You know you need accountability in order to get the things that you truly want. Maybe you're looking for more personal growth. Maybe you want more peace of mind. Well, I will assure you, when we go through this, you're going to get each of these different things. Let's take a brief moment and look at a tree and think about that tree as a reflection of our life. And you do realize that a tree's fruitfulness depends on its rootfulness. Now, what do we mean by the fruitfulness and rootfulness? When you look at this tree, what are your dreams and your desires and the goals that you have for your life? What is the fruit that you would like to bear? Have you taken the time to think about that? Let's continue on. Let's look at this tree, and this is all the fruit that you can have on your tree. Do you want more peace of mind? Do you want more money? Do you want to travel more? Do you want more joy in your life? Do you want better health? You know, it's funny, I ask a lot of people these same questions. What do you want? And invariably, people always start out by saying the same basic things. I want a new car, I want a new house, I want to travel, I want a lot of money in the bank. But what they really want, when you dig down under the layers, they want better quality relationships. They want more peace in their life. They want solid financial security. They want more joy. So as we're going through this, I've discovered that DISC is one of the simplest programs to understand. I started teaching DISC way back in the early 90s. I was originally introduced to the Greek temperament concept, which DISC is very, very similar. But I couldn't spell the different words, the choleric and sanguine, melancholy and phlegmatic. I had a rough time with that. When I stumbled on DISC, I thought, that's what I want. And I started teaching DISC to other salespeople that I was working with. I started doing things in different nonprofit organizations and churches and so forth. And it just made so much sense to me to be able to help people and engage with other people that they're working with on a day-to-day basis. Now, you can implement this whether you're working with a spouse or a business associate. Maybe it's a subordinate, maybe it's a boss, maybe it's another colleague, maybe it's a client that you're working with. DISC will fit in very, very well for you when you understand the principles of DISC. First, let's look at some very simple questions that you can ask to determine what your personality temperament is and that of the people that you're engaging with. Number one, are you extroverted or introverted? Number two, are you task-oriented or are you people-oriented? When you understand those two questions, extrovert, introvert, task, or people, then you've got the basic gist of who it is you're talking with. So we're going to touch on each of these at a very high level. And I've got a quiz or a test, an assessment that you can take that will help you better understand yourself. But then I suggest that you get other people to go through this as well, so you can understand them and know what their temperament is as well. So you recognize, in order to achieve greatness, you have to learn how to soar. It is critical for each of us to learn how to soar. But first things first, what does it mean to soar? Have you ever watched an eagle as it is soaring? They do so almost effortlessly, but they go not only with the wind, but they can go against the wind as well. And they can climb to new heights. It's absolutely magnificent to watch an eagle as they are flying or as they are soaring. So again, what does it mean to soar? Strategically seek opportunities with agility while being resolute. We're going to look at each of those 4 words today and talk about what it really means. So let's stop and think. And I want to break these down. What does it mean to work strategically in the things that we are doing? Before we start working strategically, we have to know what our why is. Now, I talk about this a lot in my other programs that I teach. You've got to know what your why and your purpose are. I've talked with people over the years that, well, Steve, I've got a dream board or a vision board. Okay, that's great. You got some pretty pictures on the wall. But is it attached to your why and to your purpose? And if you don't have that connection, you may get those things, but it's not going to be as easily done. So what is your why? What is your purpose in going after the things that you want? Are you chasing the dreams attached to your why and your purpose? When you know your why and your purpose, you can spread your wings and soar. So let's look at each of these different things. Have you ever thought about your life looking like this? It's just a big jigsaw puzzle. It's in total shambles. You don't seem to have any structure. Nothing is fitting together. But when you're soaring and you're doing things strategically based on your why and your purpose, then you can start to live a more victorious life. That's when all the pieces are coming together for you. You've laid the foundation. You've done all of the right things. So again, what does it mean to soar? You have to learn how to be strategic in the things that you are doing. Are you being strategic in the calls that you're making, in the people that you are prospecting, in connecting in different types of meetings? Are you being strategic and laying out a plan and following that plan? You know, you've probably heard it said before, plan your work and work your plan. That's part of being strategic in the things that you are doing. And as you follow through on this strategy, then you can become victorious as long as you seize the opportunities. So our second letter is O for opportunities. When was the last time you chased after a real opportunity? Yeah, I think about this image of this eagle. And this eagle, you probably don't know, you may know some little tidbits, some of the character traits of an eagle, but an eagle can see from literally 3 miles away. They can see a rabbit running across a field from 3 miles away. That's what it means to be eagle-eyed, okay? They can see a fish that's swimming, and they can swoop down strategically and grab that fish in its talons. Let's stop and think about it. What does it cost you when you are presented with an opportunity, but you choose not to take action? So let's dive into this. So what is the composition of a dream? Now, you probably don't realize that there really is a formula for you achieving your dreams and goals. Most people have no clue. Most people just start attacking. They just start moving towards whatever that thing is that they want. But there's a 7-step process, and you have to go through every single one of these steps in order to achieve the greatness that you're looking forward to. First things first, though, we've got to define what a dream is. So let's take a closer look at what a dream is. It is a voluntary indulgence that we're having while we are awake. Now, that's a fancy dictionary phrase or definition for what a dream is. But what do you think about a dream? Is the dream a new car? Is it money in the bank? Is it a vacation? Is it a vacation home? Is it travel? Is it sending your kids to college or private school? Whatever the case is, what is your dream and what are the goals? It's an inspiration. It's what gets you up in the morning. Oftentimes bills don't get us up in the morning. We know we have to, but sometimes we need a dream in order to really get us going. And I've heard it said many, many times, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So what are the dreams? What are the goals that you have? Do you have those things written down? So how do you achieve your dreams and your goals? Again, it's a 7-step process that you must go through. First things first, you have to embrace the dream. This is your first step. You have to embrace your dream. And there are 4 components to you embracing the dream. Number 1 is you have to have a why that's attached to that dream. So what is your why? I'll give you a case in point. And I use this illustration a lot with my coaching clients when they tell me, well, I need a new car. That's their dream. That's their goal. Okay. My question is, why? Well, because I need a new car. Why? Well, because my car is 10 years old. Okay. So why do you need a new car? Because it's 10 years old. Is it still running well? Yes, it is. Okay. So why do you need a new car? Well, I can't afford to have my wife stranded on the side of the road. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Now it's not about a car. Now it's about your wife and her safety. Is that right? Well, yeah, it is. And she's toting the kids back and forth to school and whatnot all the time. Okay, so it's not just about your wife. It's about your children, so your family. Well, yeah, and my wife does a lot of the shuttling with all of the kids in the neighborhood for soccer or dance lessons or whatever. Said, okay, so you're looking for safety and security, not only for your wife and your children, but for the other people that your wife is being entrusted to carry. So that's your why, is the safety and security. That's your real why. Not I need a new car. But if you don't attach the why to that, the odds of you getting it are greatly diminished. But not only do you have to have a why and a dream, but you also have to have hope and you have to have a strong desire. How strong is the desire that your wife is safe? Well, let me tell you, that's pretty strong. I got to make sure that she's taken care of. Okay. So what else do you need? Well, you need grit and action. Now, grit and action, those are some significant things. There was a book written several years ago. The author is Angela Duckworth, and the title of the book is Grit. And she tells a story about people graduating, or those that didn't graduate from West Point, from the military academy. And why those didn't make it through there, she said they were lacking grit. So you've got to take action in order to achieve the dreams and the goals that you want. Now, let me give you an illustration of what it means to take action. Now, I've got a little story for you. There are 5 bullfrogs that are sitting on lily pads. 3 of them decide they're going to jump off. How many frogs are left on the lily pads? I'm going to give you a little tip. This is not a math question. This is actually a mindset question. Let me say it again. 5 bullfrogs sitting on lily pads. 3 decide they're going to jump off. How many are left? Well, it's all 5. Because those 3 only decided, they never took action. So what have you decided you're going to do, but you've never taken action? The last component in embracing your dream is recognizing you are going to face roadblocks. And if you don't embrace the fact that you're going to have those roadblocks, guess what? You're going to be surprised a lot in the process of chasing your dream.